Tonight, the man found guilty of killing Misha Pavelick receives his sentence. A Saskatchewan First Nation raises awareness of the drug crisis, and criticism the province's fire grant is not enough to protect communities.
Live from our studios in Regina, this is CTV News.
Good evening. 20 years after Misha Pavelick was killed at a Saskatchewan campground, his family has a small measure of closure. Today, the man who was found guilty of second-degree murder last November was sentenced. With more, we go live to Sierra D'Souza Butts, who was at Court of King's bench when the sentence was handed down. Sierra?
Lee, after 2 days of a sentencing hearing, Justice Catherine Dawson has made her decision that the man found guilty will serve a maximum youth sentence of 7 years, 4 years that will be spent behind bars. The family of Pavelick now finally has an answer, bringing an end to decades of police investigations and legal proceedings. Pavelick was 19 years old when he was fatally stabbed at a high school graduation party held near Regina Beach on May 21st, 2006. Despite calls for an adult sentence from the Crown, a judge ruled this week that because the now 37-year-old, who was 17 when the incident took place, he will be serving a youth sentence. In order to secure an adult sentence, the Crown had to prove the man had the developmental age of an adult at the time of Pavelick's killing. In her decision, Justice Dawson says she was not satisfied beyond a reasonable doubt that the man convicted had the maturity of an adult, referring back to his pattern of offenses continuously involving impulsive behavior and alcohol abuse with peers, adding the man will not receive credit for the time already served, noting he needs more accountability, sustained programming, and ongoing education. The Crown says the 20-year case has been a burden to the Pavelick family that will carry on even after today.
We're relieved that we were able to bring this matter to court, that the facts of this incident were uncovered, and that someone's been finally held accountable, albeit a long time after it occurred.
It's a very difficult one for a jury to decide because there were several potential suspects. Memories of all the witnesses were contaminated by talking with each other and all the years that had gone by. So it was a difficult case.
The first 4 years will be served behind bars, and the remaining 3 years will be under community supervision. Now, Hitchcock says the man convicted has 30 days to decide whether an appeal will be made. Lee?
All right, thank you, Sierra. That's Sierra D'Souza Butts reporting live from Court of King's bench. Now, a correction to a story we ran last night. We incorrectly stated that Constable Clinton Duquette with the Regina Police Service was charged with breach of trust when he had been charged under the Local Authority Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. His lawyer did appear on his behalf in Regina Provincial Court. We apologize for the error. White Butte RCMP have charged 2 men with human trafficking. Last November, RCMP received a report of potential human trafficking at a trucking business in the RM of Edenwald. An investigation determined an employee had to pay a large sum of money to be employed with the company and obtain permanent resident status. Drivers were also forced to drive with unsafe loads and work long hours without compensation. 36-year-old Himanshu Kundra from the RM of Edenwald and 50-year-old Jagtar Sidora of Regina are facing 3 charges, including human trafficking. Their next court appearance is July 2nd in Regina. Well, the Muscadet First Nation is more than 300 kilometers away from Regina, but that didn't stop its members from putting on their shoes and making a long walk to the Legislative Building. The goal? Raising awareness of the drug crisis on every First Nation in Saskatchewan. Jacob Carr has more.
A show of support by vehicles on Albert Street for the small contingent of Muscadet First Nation members finishing the last leg of their crystal meth and fentanyl overdose awareness walk, which began over a week ago. The walk is in its 4th year and started with an idea.
Betty Prosper had a dream and she needed to do something, so we were co-workers and she came and asked me if I'd like to help her with a walk. So we sat together and we started planning out a walk from Muscadet to Regina.
Muscadet First Nation Chief Ron Bailey Bear was part of the walk and says their community, along with other First Nations like James Smith, Kawakatus, and Payapot, are calling on the government at the federal and provincial levels to enact change. Bear wants to see more treatment centres in First Nations communities and harsher penalties for offenders who distribute and traffic drugs like crystal meth and fentanyl.
It's just devastating to hear that, either somebody's passed away or they overdosed, and then, costs lots of money for the healthcare system to, try and look after that situation.
Those who made the long walk across the province to raise awareness say the drug epidemic in Saskatchewan has a trickle-down effect that extends from the user to their family, friends, and community members.
A lot of parents are grieving their children right now because they don't know if they're going to get a call that their child is gone. They're not going to know if their child had an overdose. And this is what we're trying to bring awareness for. We're trying to save some lives.
In a statement, the Ministry of Health said they share the desire of Saskatchewan's First Nations and Métis leadership to expand access to addictions treatment in the province, adding that the government continues to add new treatment spaces as part of their action plan for mental health and addictions. In the meantime, the Muscadet First Nation members say they will continue their fight to raise awareness. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
Meanwhile, Minister of Mental Health and Addictions Lori Carr was in Yorkton today announcing an investment of more than $750,000 annually for a new mobile withdrawal management program that's in Yorkton. The funding will support 15 withdrawal management spaces through Medavie Health Services West and aimed at helping people dealing with addictions and overdoses. Officials say the program is part of Saskatchewan's Mental Health and Addictions Action Plan, first introduced in 2023, with a goal of adding 500 recovery spaces across the province. The new spaces are expected to provide care closer to home and support individuals, families, and the broader Yorkton community.
I believe this mobile withdrawal management program is an important step to helping people who are struggling with addictions get the help that they need, either at home or elsewhere in their community.
Paramedics, the City of Yorkton, as well as the Sask Health Authority, welcomed today's announcement. Well, some of Saskatchewan's leading startups were shoulder to shoulder with healthcare administration and government officials at a luncheon meant to capitalize on the innovation happening all over the province. As Keenan Sorokon reports, getting this influx of technology into healthcare settings is the next step.
Navigating the future of healthcare, overcoming regulatory hurdles, and using new tech to improve access for everyone. All these topics and more were part of a 2-hour discussion Tuesday where Health Minister Jeremy Cockrell was keeping close tabs on Saskatchewan innovators.
There's a real opportunity for us, I think, to really engage more directly and deeply with the innovators that we have in our own province and figure out how we work together.
Mike Wesolowski is the CEO of Luxonic Technologies, which specializes in VR tech and software that's bringing virtual care to faraway places.
Spread healthcare to those remote and rural communities to ensure that the healthcare that we get in La Loche is the same healthcare that we're getting in Saskatoon.
Founders in the room have technology sold in Toronto, Nigeria, and the United States, and the province is looking to see if it can be rolled out provincially. An RFP for virtual healthcare vendors was issued Tuesday to get more people access to primary care, especially in northern remote communities.
We want to make this available to more people across the province. We're going to start in a few different regions and then really ramp up from there.
Wesolowski says the province can do more to welcome these million-dollar ideas and work closely with tech companies.
One of the big differences between a company in Saskatchewan and a multinational company is we can build solutions very quickly and tailored to the problems that we have in this province.
And while Cockrell isn't one for red tape, he sees the benefit of creating a central pathway for tech innovation to link with the health authority.
What is the best avenue for innovators and founders to come forward to government and say, hey, I've got a potential solution to a problem I've heard about from the front line.
Keenan Sorokon, CTV News, Saskatoon.
An overpass northwest of Regina on Highway 11 is getting some repair work done after it was hit last year. Drivers will notice some construction work where Highway 11 meets the Regina bypass. The bypass says that the repair work was necessary due to damages from being hit by a third party, which involved farm equipment. They say the bridge is being repaired with no additional cost to Saskatchewan taxpayers. Well, just over a week after it was badly damaged by strong wind, Oxbow's Co-op food store has reopened. The store closed due to damages that were sustained during a severe thunderstorm on June the 7th. And according to an update from Southern Plains Co-op, the store able to reopen on Monday morning. According to new info from the Northern Tornadoes Project, they suspect a downburst is behind the damages to the building's roof with an estimated max wind speed of 130 kilometers per hour. It also damaged a barn and several trees in the area. Meanwhile, NDP confirmed 3 additional tornadoes in Saskatchewan alongside that downburst. 2 of them touched down in areas east of Oxbow on June 7th, possibly within 10 minutes of each other. The same night the co-op was damaged. The first was near Glen Ewan, damaging the roof of a home and turning over a trailer. The second was near Carnduff, which destroyed an outbuilding and its worst damage point. Both have been given a rating of EF1 with estimated max wind speeds of 140 to 145 kilometers per hour. A third separate tornado confirmed in the LaPorte area, that is southwest of Kindersley. That one has been given a default rating of EF0 with no visible damage found. Saskatchewan's total number of tornadoes so far this year is at 6. Sabine joins us now for our first look at weather. And Sabine, there actually was a tornado warning for about 20 minutes in west central Saskatchewan, but that disappeared. But there are some severe storms out there in the province today.
Yeah, and the good news is we're starting to see some of these watches disappear as well, or clear out. But we still have a lot of southern Saskatchewan under the yellow severe thunderstorm watches. And as Lee mentioned, we do have some of those severe thunderstorm warnings issued right now. Of course, the higher level of a warning is the orange, and that is in the southwest, and that's including areas like Shaunavon, East End, Climax, and that system is moving quite quickly. It's actually moving at about 65 kilometers an hour. It's moving eastward. Originally, we were seeing it tucked right into the corner, including Maple Creek, but now it's starting to move. That, of course, we're seeing loony to ping-pong size hail, damaging winds, and localized heavy rainfall. That darker yellow around the Avonlea area, also a severe thunderstorm warning. That one's moving at about 35 kilometers southeast, and that also has about quarter-size hail, heavy rainfall, and damaging winds involved with that as well. I'll have all the updates and more coming up in your full forecast. Lee?
All right, thank you, Sabine. A new provincial government grant is under scrutiny tonight. The province says it aims to help communities be more resilient to wildfires, but as CTV's Laura Woodward tells us, some say that the money just doesn't go far enough.
The government is giving money to communities that take steps to reduce the risk of wildfire. It's called the Fire Smart Grant, part of the government's plan to address an independent review that found flaws in Saskatchewan's wildfire response.
Fire mitigation is critical in wildfire prevention.
Wadden Bay will be the first community to receive the funding with a retroactive $40,000 grant for fire mitigation work it's already completed.
$40,000 is nothing. It wouldn't even get us started.
Candace Paul, the emergency coordinator for English River First Nation, says the funding falls short of what's needed in northern communities surrounded by boreal forest.
I've done an analysis of what we need to do for fire smart in both of our communities. Over the next 2 years would cost $600,000 to $1 million to do a proper mitigation.
The new Fire Smart Grant is being welcomed by Forest Saskatchewan, but the nonprofit says reducing wildfire risk requires greater attention to forest management.
We really need to spend some time and effort on the front end, which is forest management and forest protection, which would include what does it take to make a forest more resilient to wildfire.
Premier Scott Moe says the Fire Smart Grant is just one of the 11 immediate actions the government plans to take in addressing recommendations from the wildfire report.
That I think is going to better prepare our northern communities and the government's role in supporting that preparation.
Laura Woodward, CTV News, Saskatoon.
A Saskatchewan Conservative MP wants access to psilocybin made easier for treatment for mental health conditions. Now, currently, magic mushroom therapy is only available through Health Canada approval. But as Wayne Mantika tells us, Corey Tucker has introduced a private members bill in Ottawa giving doctors the power to prescribe it.
MP Corey Tucker became aware of psilocybin therapy through a constituent. Thomas was a constituent of mine. He was given the diagnosis from his doctors that 4 months to live with stage 4 cancer.
Back in 2020, Thomas Hartle became the first person in Canada to legally access magic mushroom therapy for his anxiety. It took Health Canada approval.
And his physician prescribed psilocybin counseling, which is the active ingredient in magic mushrooms. And with that counseling, it calmed his anxiety so that his body could fight cancer.
3 years later, Health Canada rescinded the approval. Hartle passed away in 2024. His Member of Parliament has introduced a private member's bill that would leave prescribing decisions to doctors.
And his government cut him off. Along the same time period, he could have accessed the MAID, same-day MAID, applied for it in the morning, and got it in the afternoon.
Tucker's bill has the support of others like Josh Vino, an Afghanistan combat veteran with PTSD.
For the first time in nearly 15 years, I felt peace. I was able to finally integrate and solidify everything I had learned through the years of psychotherapy. It didn't erase my trauma, it changed my relationship with it. Health
Canada is awaiting the results of further research into psilocybin, but MPs will have the opportunity to move that process along. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
Well, demand for the Snowbirds' last public show in Saskatchewan before a planned hiatus is quite high, but organizers are releasing some additional tickets. 100 additional parking spots for the hometown event has been opened up at the Moose Jaw Municipal Airport. They'll go on public sale Friday, limited to just one per customer. The air show is set for July 11th.
Still ahead, why some Indigenous leaders are criticizing the federal government's new First Nations Clean Water Act. And what did the Prime Minister and U.S. President say during a hot mic moment at the G7 meeting?
Greetings, everyone. For the past 2 years, the City of Regina has been selecting one local First Nations or Métis artist for its Indigenous Artists in Residence program, aiming to support artistic creation and community connection. But in celebration of the city's 5th year of the program, 5 Indigenous artists have been picked this year. Sierra de Souza Butts brings us this week's story.
As an artist with a disability, Tori Ironstar says painting is a way for him to tell his story.
Painting's super easy, it's visual, and everyone kind of understands. I don't need to use words to explain it. As like a hearing person would tell a story, I can tell it through art.
Ironstar uses a geometric style for his artwork, allowing him to incorporate his Nakota and Blackfoot Indigenous identity. Through his art, he hopes people can see the deaf perspective.
They see that I'm dependent on my eyesight and find that deeper meaning. And I'm really interested to see what people see on the surface level and what's basic, but really go deeper than that. And also incorporating the Indigenous perspective and colors and all of that, and just kind of 3 different worlds mixed into one.
Ironstar is one of 5 artists selected for the City of Regina's Indigenous Artists in Residence program, where First Nations, Inuit, and Métis artists join a paid residency that supports their artistic creation, community connection, and cultural continuity. As part of the city's 5th year of the program, 5 artists were chosen instead of 1.
There's so many great artists here locally that have such different perspectives and important voices to share, and so many diverse mediums. So this is really exciting way for us to celebrate the 5 years of this program.
From June to October, the local talent will host public workshops at the Neil Bockwell Civics Arts Center, learning from one another while connecting with Indigenous art and storytelling.
I think I'm most looking forward to is connecting with other Indigenous artists in the community and sharing that art with the greater community in Regina. I'm hopeful that it's going to create more connections between non-Indigenous and Indigenous people.
The artwork created through the 2026 residency will be added to the city's civic art collection. To date, the collection contains over 330 artworks by local Saskatchewan and Canadian artists.
It's exciting to know that my artwork will continue on in the collection even after I'm gone. I have a young daughter who is 8, and so that's something that makes me really happy as well as a mother, that she can, when I'm gone, she can be like, my mom's art's in the collection. And, you know.
At the end of the residency, a final exhibition will be held at the Art Gallery of Regina from November to December. For Indigenous Circle, I'm Sierra D'Souza Butts in Regina.
If you have a story you would like to see in this segment, here's how to reach us. You can contact me by email, and you can also watch past episodes and segments of Indigenous Circle on our CTV Regina and CTV Saskatoon websites.
Indigenous Circle, brought to you in part by Saskatchewan Indigenous Enterprise Foundation, growing the First Nation entrepreneurial spirit.
Well, some First Nations have been waiting decades for safe drinking water. The federal government has introduced a revamped First Nations Clean Water Act after the previous regime failed to meet their target. But as Judy Trin tells us, the language of the legislation has some Indigenous communities concerned.
An act respecting water.
The Liberal government tabled its new version of the First Nations Clean Water Act.
We can all agree that everyone should have access to clean, safe drinking water.
On reserves like Niskanjaga, people have had to boil water to make it safe to use since 1995. In Kasheshawan, families were evacuated after sewage leaked into the drinking water. Currently, 38 First Nations are under long-term advisories. The Liberals, under former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, set a deadline to fix the problem and missed it.
We will end all long-term drinking water advisories on reserves by 2021.
11 years ago, this Liberal government said they would get rid of clean water, boiled water advisories within 6 years. Now it's 2026.
But more than 150 long-term water advisories have been lifted since 2015. Still, the Liberals under Mark Carney have changed the language of the bill. The policy is to further the progressive realization that First Nations have a human right to safe drinking water, instead of declaring it an existing right. The previous bill was opposed by Alberta and Ontario.
I'm trying to create the safest space where everybody comes to the table, works together, and commits.
The Carney government's push to fast-track major projects like pipelines has set it on a collision course with some Indigenous groups. When it comes to protecting water, some feel the diluted language means less of a commitment to a basic necessity.
Water is a human right. Full stop. It's been a progressive realization for many of our nations for decades. And if we're going by that timeline, I'm absolutely concerned with that language in that bill.
This legislation also promises an additional $4.6 billion to ensure access to clean water. But the bill won't be looked at until the fall. The government chose to table the legislation 2 days before Parliament is set to rise. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
A hot mic moment at the G7 captured a casual exchange between the U.S. President and Canada's Prime Minister, engaging in a bit of small talk, but also getting down to business. Michael Couture has the details on the impromptu lunch chatter and what else happened on a busy first day in France.
As G7 leaders prepared for their working lunch, Prime Minister Mark Carney took advantage of the moment to talk trade with U.S. President Donald Trump. In an apparent reference to the amount of Chinese electric vehicles Canada agreed to let into the country in January, Carney conveyed to Trump how little he believes it would affect the North American market. The agreement with China would allow for the annual import of 49,000 Chinese-manufactured EVs into Canada. In exchange, China lowered tariffs on a number of Canadian products, including canola. Also in Evian, Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc and lead trade negotiator Janice Charette met with their American counterparts.
We talked about a number of other issues that the United States raises with us, but we also talked about issues that are important to Canadian workers and the Canadian economy.
Now, after securing the deal with Iran, Trump's focus shifted to Ukraine. Following a meeting with President Volodymyr Zelensky on the margins of the G7 summit, Trump had this message for Vladimir Putin.
Russia should make a deal. Russia's lost tremendous amounts of people, and so has Ukraine.
Ukraine will win. It's just a question of time.
To help make that happen, Canada announced additional sanctions against 162 Russian individuals and entities targeting the Russian war machine. And President Zelensky feels a new sense of momentum towards a resolution.
It's great that everybody's understanding. And it's great that Russia is not winning, and we have to push Putin to end this war.
G7 leaders will continue their meetings on Wednesday, but there are no plans for Trump and Carney to sit down together. But as we saw today, that doesn't mean they won't have important discussions, even if they're brief. Mike Lecouteur, CTV News, near Evian, France.
Meanwhile, Donald Trump says the full text of the 15-point interim deal to end the war with Iran will be made public soon. The U.S. president insisted today there is one issue that is non-negotiable.
The one thing that's happening that's of note, frankly, the only thing that really matters to me, is Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. And it says it loud and clear. They're not going to develop it. They're not going to buy it. They're not going to do anything with it. And if they do, they suffer unbelievable consequences.
The president says the text of the Memorandum of Understanding also includes extending a tenuous ceasefire announced in April another 60 days and reopening the Strait of Hormuz. Trump says that will happen by Friday, the same day the deal is expected to be formally signed in Switzerland.
Coming up, a new walking tour in Saskatoon highlighting one of the animals Canada is known for.
Welcome back. We're going to take a look at what we can expect weather-wise for the rest of this week. Today, not too bad of a day. We're currently sitting at 19 degrees and the wind's just under 15 kilometers an hour. I know my friends all love the almanac, so I didn't want to skip out on it for you. Our average is usually about 23 degrees. We warmed up to 21, and last year we were sitting at 23, so still within that seasonal range. And even our low, 9.7, the average is 9.8. So we had a pretty average day, a pretty seasonal day when it comes to temperatures. Tomorrow will probably be a little cooler than those average temperatures, but this is what we're currently looking at with our radar satellite. Now, the lighter transparent yellow we actually saw a little further up close to the Saskatoon area. So we're starting to see those lift as we continue throughout this evening. The warnings were expected to lift later this evening, so we'll start to see them probably clear out more. But right here where that pocket of storm cells is coming through, that's where we're seeing the orange level of severe thunderstorm warnings issued right now. Again, they're moving quite quickly. That system is moving eastward at about 65 kilometers an hour. So we'll actually probably start to see these warnings shift further into the east as well. But by the time we start to see it move into the Assiniboia area, that's probably where we'll start to see it lift. And now we're starting to see the severe thunderstorm warning issued around that Assiniboia area as well, with those storm cells continuing to move. But as we continue into later this evening, we'll start to see a lot of those systems break up and actually weaken. And we'll see that in the rainfall totals that we were expecting to see earlier. It looked like we were going to get much heavier rainfall for parts of southern Saskatchewan. Now it doesn't look as heavy as first expected, but we're still going to see some of that scattered precipitation heading into tomorrow. Again, not one big storm system that's coming through. It's some little pockets of rain, scattered showers throughout most of southern Saskatchewan throughout tomorrow. By the time we get into tomorrow night, we'll see most of that rain clear out before it returns Thursday morning, and most of it we're expecting cloudier conditions. So still continuing to see scattered showers through Wednesday and Thursday, and by Friday, that's where we'll start to see mainly sunny conditions to start your weekend, and temperatures warming back up just a little as well. Between now and to tomorrow morning, this is what we're looking at for rainfall totals now. Up to about 3 millimeters for many parts of the southern Saskatchewan, up to 5 for Maple Creek. Assiniboia expecting more than that, up to close to 15 millimeters of rain. By the time we get into Thursday morning, close to 10 for Maple Creek, 10 for Swift Current and Kindersley, close to 5 millimeters of rain for Regina and Moose Jaw, just 1 millimeter for Saskatoon, 2 for Estevan. Weyburn just over 5, and Assiniboia getting closer to that 20 millimeter mark of rain. So this this is what we're expecting now. Again, like I said earlier, it was looking much heavier for the rainfall total. So good news there. Temperature-wise, tomorrow a cooler day in most of Saskatchewan compared to what our average is. Yeah, as you saw in the almanac, average is usually about 23 degrees. Tomorrow we're going to be seeing mid to high teens as our daytime highs. 15 for L'Orange, 17 for La Loche and Prince Albert, 18 for Lloydminster, and for Saskatoon, seeing mostly cloudy conditions there. 19 for North Battleford, 17 mostly cloudy for Yorkton. The southwest expecting that rain. 17 for Maple Creek and Swift Current, 18 in rain for Moose Jaw in the southeast, 18 in rain for Weyburn and Estevan, 16 in rain for Assiniboia. Tonight for Regina, 10 with some scattered showers, and then tomorrow warming to 19 with some scattered showers throughout the day. As of right now, it looks like, again, we could probably see about 1 to 2 millimeters of rain for tomorrow, and then a little bit more on Thursday. It's really looking like trace amounts each day, but we're going to see that warm up. So by Thursday, 21, and Friday, 21, mainly sunny, so more sunshine expected Friday and Saturday, 22 and sunny. By Sunday, we could see a little bit more heavy rainfall, and that's where we're going to see the cloudier conditions. 19 is the expected high. Monday, 18 in rain, and by Tuesday, a little bit more sunshine and 19 degrees. So we're staying within that average temperature range. It's just we're still seeing that rain continuing.
Still seeing some rain, but could be needed to grow.
Exactly. We still need it.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Sabine.
You bet.
Well, it's one of the well-known symbols of Canada, kind of an honorary mascot, the beaver. If you live in one of Saskatchewan's major cities, you likely only seen the animal when you're rooting for change. But as Hallie Mandrick tells us, man, that beaver looks like he's seen things. One Saskatoon man is offering tours to see the largest rodent right now in North America.
What started as a hobby during COVID at the advice of his wife, for Mike Degu, has since grown into a community of nature lovers.
Apparently I can be annoying sometimes, and she said you have to find a reason to get out of the house. So I went for a walk by the river and I saw a beaver, and I followed it for the rest of the evening, and it led me back to its lodge, and there were several beavers swimming around in the dusk lighting.
After taking some pictures and videos of the beavers, this quickly became a routine for Degu. He soon had so much content that he created a social media page, which now has more than 15,000 followers.
I get a lot of messages from people saying, we love your page. A lot of seniors will write me and say, this is great, I can't get out to the river, and your page makes it feel like I'm there.
Now, Degu is bringing his passion for urban wildlife to others in Saskatoon. Thanks to a partnership with the Meewasin Valley Authority, a beaver walking tour has been created where Mike is sometimes the host.
I'll give you a really great introduction of the Weir and that whole area, some of the fascinating history and some undiscovered sites that people don't really get to appreciate or take advantage of when they're there.
The weekly tour is intended to teach others how wildlife has adapted to living in Saskatoon.
Hopefully you'll get to see some beavers, but also see some really cool things about how the beavers have adapted to the river and how they've changed the river just along the trail you're going through.
For Degu, he's just happy to see his hobby bringing joy to others.
Especially love the fact that people get enjoyment from what I do. So if I can share a video or a photo or some knowledge and it helps improve someone's day, puts a smile on someone's face, I love it.
Anyone looking to join a Monday night beaver walking tour can find tickets on the Meewasin website. Hallie Mandrick, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Still ahead with defensive back Roland Milligan Jr. out with an injury. The door opens for former NFLer Juju Hughes.
Here's what's happening in our community. The Big Book Sale is happening on June 17th to the 20th, starting at 11 a.m. at the Highland Curling Club, located at 348 Broad Street. For all the details, call 306-533-1235. Caitlin's Crusaders Bronc match will be happening on June 19th at 7 p.m. at the Pilot Butte Rodeo Grounds. For all the details, contact ccbroncmatch@gmail.com. Submit your event to our community by visiting our website, ctvregina.ca, and click Community Calendar or scan the QR code on your screen.
Saskatchewan Roughriders were back at practice today, hoping to follow up Saturday's season-opening win with another strong performance in Calgary. But they will have to play without one of their veteran defenders. Donovan May says more.
Defensive players.
The Saskatchewan Roughriders will be without Roland Milligan Jr. for at least the near future.
It might be a couple weeks for old Roe there, but that guy is a superhuman.
It's the player is down that hit you, and that's Roland Milligan, who's still down.
Milligan leaving Saturday night's game against the BC Lions after delivering this hit on receiver Justin McInnes with an apparent shoulder injury.
We're in a sport that's, I don't know, I don't do math, but I'd probably say 100% injury rate. It's, you know what I mean, throughout your career. So some of it's just kind of luck.
Now the team looks to complete the near impossible task of replacing Agent Zero.
Be ready for when my number's called.
And for now, that appears to be newcomer Juju Hughes.
I'm ready to play week 1 if that was the case. That's just kind of where you get set at the time, but we're going every day ready to play.
The former LA Ram and Detroit Lion played 3 seasons in the NFL before his time in Saskatchewan as he transitions to the Canadian style of playing defense.
That one extra guy, the receivers running at you, the wider field, little things like that.
Former Regina Ram Jackson Ford could also see an elevated role.
Next man up mentality, and we're all pros. We all, even though some of us aren't taking those reps in practice, we're still mentally taking them and making sure we're still locked in.
And that's the reason why we shuffle the deck, during training camp, is that you don't want to, get stuck in a situation where, who are we going to put where?
Well, Milligan is on a couple-week timeline for his return. Mace is hopeful could be sooner than expected. Donovan Mace, CTV News, Regina.
A former Regina Pat has died after a brief illness, according to an emotional update from his daughter. Kyle Calder played with the Regina Pats for 4 seasons between 1995 and 1999. He went on to a pro career that included 608 regular season games in the NHL. The Pats, they extended their condolences to Calder's family in a post online today. Calder was 47. Well, Chapway's First Nation product Ethan Bear has signed a new deal with the New York Islanders. The Islanders announcing that Bear has signed a 1-year, 2-way contract. He spent last season with the Islanders' American Hockey League affiliate. This contract allows that to continue while also opening the door to a possible NHL return. He's previously played in 275 NHL games, most recently with the Washington Capitals, also played for the Edmonton Oilers. Well, France kicked off its World Cup campaign off on the right foot today thanks to its star player. And Kylian Mbappe picked up from where he left off in the last World Cup, giving France the lead over Senegal in the second half. 1 of 2 goals for him on the day. Then Bradley Barcola following up a Champions League title with a World Cup goal. France goes on to beat Senegal 3-1. One other game for you earlier today. It was Erling Haaland with a pair of goals as Norway defeated Iraq by a score of 4-1. Tonight, Argentina will play Algeria. Austria will play Jordan. And Canada's next game at the World Cup is Thursday in Vancouver versus Qatar. Both teams looking to build off of earning a point in their openers. Game time, 4 o'clock Saskatchewan time, right here on CTV. So that means there will be no 5 o'clock newscast on Thursday, and the 6 o'clock newscast will be a half-hour show starting at 6:30.
Still ahead, a boat rescue on the South Saskatchewan River.
Let's take a look at your forecast, your rural forecast for tomorrow. Again, continuing to see those similar temperatures we were seeing earlier with the mid to high teens as the expected daytime highs. Cloudier conditions in the east, Hudson Bay, Melfort, and Wynyard all seeing the mid-teens as their daytime highs. A little bit more sunshine and a little warmer. Kindersley 19 and a mix of sun and cloud, 18 and a mix of sun and cloud for Lloydminster. And then rain for areas like Meadow Lake, Spiritwood, expecting a high of 16. Outlook rain and 19 in Watrous, mostly cloudy. 18 degrees. Closer to the southern border, a lot more rain expected in the south there. Temperatures, though, again, still looking in the mid to high teens. 14 in rain for East End Cypress, 15 in rain for Rockland, 16 in rain for Broadview, cloudy and 16 for Kenora, 17 in rain for Coronach, Assiniboia, Maple Creek, 18 in rain for Leader, 19 in rain for Rosetown, and Carlisle, cloudy and 17 degrees. A closer look at Merrifield, which is about 250 kilometers southeast of Regina. Tomorrow, warming up to about 18 degrees. degrees. Mostly cloudy day. There is a slight chance that we could see some scattered showers developing into the late afternoon. Not expecting much in terms of rainfall, though, probably about 1 millimeter of rain, and then cooling to 6 degrees in the evening.
Rescue crews in Saskatoon jumped into action last night after a call about a boat in distress on the South Saskatchewan River. A 911 caller reported a boat with 2 people being carried downriver near the University Bridge just after 8:30 in the evening. A fire department water rescue boat entered the water to assist. With elevated water levels on the South Saskatchewan, the safety of those in the boat was a priority. The boat driver was told to put an anchor into the water to slow down the momentum, and they headed downriver, but before being able to restart their onboard engine. The rescue boat accompanied them to the launch, and the occupants of the craft were briefed about the dangers of being on the river with such high water levels. Regina's Co-op Refinery Complex will be running a series of live fire drills this month. Refinery officials say the public may see smoke or fire coming from the training grounds during the exercises, but there's no cause for alarm. The first of 6 training days between now and the end of June took place today. Next one is scheduled for Thursday. Farm market boards, canola street price down $3.10 to $701.95 per ton, while the futures price is down $3.10 to $748.90 per ton. Amber Durham wheat, $285.20 per ton. Red spring wheat is down $1.48 to $271.26 per ton. Feed barley, $257.21 per ton, and flax is $630.54 per ton. Prices courtesy of Bunge and ICE Futures Canada. The markets, the TSX up 113 points. The Dow Jones was up by 328 points. As for the Canadian dollar, it went nowhere. Well, it didn't go nowhere, but it didn't change. It's at 71.48 cents U.S. On the commodity front, gold up $19.52. West Texas Intermediate crude dropped by $4.70, and Western Canadian Select crude dropped by $3.67. So, gas in Regina, you're going to expect to see movement soon here, but so far no movement. It's at $1.65.9 per liter. Coming up tonight, we have 3 big bangs.
You didn't ask me.
You wouldn't have said 3. Match game at 8 o'clock, password at 9. So big bangs, game shows, big bang. And then e-talk.
Yeah.
A famous tragedy quickly turned into a bit of a comedy when a stray cat stole the spotlight at a ballet performance of Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, the feline cozied right next to Romeo's body during the Russian ballet's emotional conclusion, where, spoiler alert, Juliet discovered her forbidden lover's dead body. Much like the distraught Juliet, the cat went so far as to inspect the body, and somehow the dancer still did not break character. How did the...
He's dead. He can't react to the fact that a cat's ripping his hair out. So this cat just wouldn't leave?
Where did this cat come from? I have so many questions.
Well, you'll know when the cat wins Oscar for Best Actor.
It would be a
year.
Tony if it's a musical.
Ooh, a Tony.
Yeah. Okay, well, meet Mexico's unofficial World Cup mascot. Oh.
This is Merlin the Duck, rocking the Mexico jersey, waddling around Mexico City before last night's opening game. Merlin has since racked up millions of views online. He was already a local celebrity before the World Cup because he's known as kind of the wingman of a vendor who sells water and soda from a cart.
Wingman, I see what you did there. Oh.
So there you go. There's lots of mascots at the World Cup.
I was just going to ask, is there like a main one?
Well, there is. There's one for each country. I think
there's not like one World Cup mascot?
No, it changes every 4 years. Like the moose is Canada's, and then they have an eagle for America. And I don't know what after that. She was loving World Cup today.
I hate you.